I didn't want to be a Baltimore City police officer before. I feel like Baltimore City police officers have a bad name about themselves. And we have to change that and change it together.
She left out of that house every day and dug her feet into the dirt to serve this city. She deserves better. Call somebody and let somebody know. Don't leave my family hanging.
39-year-old KEONA Holley, affectionately known by family and friends as Kiki, was a mother of 4 who had a passion for helping those in need, including her Baltimore, Maryland community. She was known as the mom from the West Side, who made an impression on residents as well as her fellow police officers. She had previously worked at Clifton T. Perkins Hospital, a state psychiatric facility, as a nursing assistant, while also working a security job. In 2020, she decided to pursue her lifelong goal of becoming a police officer and made the decision to join the police academy. Sergeant Bill Janu, an instructor with Baltimore Police, said Holley stood out to him because when he asked her class of recruits what drew them to the profession, she said she was a Baltimore City resident and wanted to make the city a better place. You ask people what they want to do in the department, and people say SWAT. People say, I want to be in DAT, the District Action Team, and kick doors in. Her attitude was, I don't care what I do. I just want to give back to the community. I felt like she could have done anything in the department and done the most to give back to the city of Baltimore. Janu also recalled a moment during Holley's academy process when she ran out of the room crying. He was one of a few people who sat with her afterward. When she shared she was afraid because she didn't want to leave her children motherless. She was ultimately convinced to continue the training and graduate, and Janu remembers seeing her on graduation week and how happy she was she had stuck with it. She flourished in the class. On December 16th, KEONA volunteered to work the overtime shift in one of Baltimore's most violent neighborhoods, Curtis Bay. Little did she know, the unthinkable would happen.
This is a cowardly act, and we have a coward on the loose in Baltimore that we must and will find.
Murder after murder, shooting after shooting. We always say, well, this is it. We've hit rock bottom. Well, tonight our city is rocked again after word a police officer ambushed and shot, and that has all of us shaking our heads wondering what in the world.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, we bring you news that an officer is at shock trauma, surrounded by those who love her tonight. WMER 2 News' Brittany Verner is live at the hospital. Brittany, what can you tell us about the officer's condition tonight?
Yeah, well, we've been out here all day, and we just got an update a few moments ago that she is now out of surgery and in ICU, still fighting for her life tonight. And police say they now have a vehicle in custody in relation to this investigation. Now we're going to show you a picture of Officer Holley. Earlier today, police told us they got a call about a crash around 1:30 this morning near Pennington and Hazel Street, not far from Curtis Bay Park. When they arrived, they found one of their officers, Officer Holley, who wasn't injured from the crash but had been shot and then crashed her car following that shooting. They immediately started rendering aid before rushing her to shock trauma. Police say she was assigned to that area and working when someone came up from behind her marked police car and started shooting at that officer, striking her at least twice. Now the family of that woman is pleading for people in the community to speak up and help police find the people responsible.
She left out of that house every day and dug her feet into the dirt to serve this city. She deserves better. And I ask that you come out and say something. You know something. You've seen something. Say it confidentially. Call somebody and let somebody know. Don't leave my family hanging.
Very, very powerful words from her sister. Very powerful words from the sister. Again, a very bold act for someone to shoot a police officer clearly in a marked squad car. Right now, city leaders say we should all take this very personal.
Well, about 50 family members and friends were outside of shock trauma tonight praying for Officer Holley to recover. This comes just hours after city police announced they arrested 2 men in connection to the shooting.
what the devil meant for evil, God is going to turn this around.
Red and white balloons were held outside Shock Trauma as friends and family members gathered together to pray for Officer KEONA Holley.
We know healing should take place today, not only for KEONA, but everybody on the ICU ward.
Holley remains on full life support after being shot multiple times Thursday morning inside her patrol car in Curtis Bay. The suspects, Elliot Knox and Trayvon Shaw, now behind bars. Baltimore City Police say they used surveillance video and license plate readers to connect them to the shooting.
We don't know why they did this. We have absolute confessions that they did it, they were there. We don't have motive as to why.
Police say after opening fire on Holley, the pair then drove 11 miles away to the 600 block of Lucia Avenue and killed 27-year-old Justin Johnson.
I heard my mom scream, and then I kind of just like woke up in a panic.
The first shots were like pop, 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 and then the second ones were like bang, 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 bang. I rolled to the floor because I wasn't sure what was happening. Rhonda Verkamen says she lives a few doors down from Johnson. She says her heart dropped when she found out he was killed. He was always very friendly. He had a young daughter, a little baby girl, and she just loved him. Police say they recovered 2 guns, but with no clear motive, many are left wondering why. And it makes me kind of curious as to how they were connected.
Now, police say that both of those suspects in their 30s have a lengthy criminal history. Knox was wanted for armed robberies in the county when he was 16, and Shaw was actually out of jail awaiting a trial next year for being a felon with a possession.
4 days since police officer KEONA Holley was ambushed in the area where she was working. Charging documents that came out today say she was shot in the head. Police have since arrested the 2 men they believe are responsible for her shooting and also killing Justin Johnson. Now people in her community are going the extra mile to show support for the officer and her family. WMER2 News' Brittany Werner spoke with some of her former colleagues today to talk about how they're showing support and how you can too.
When we found out that first morning, we had a few officers here and sergeants that worked directly with her that were just in tears and shock.
Last Thursday morning, the entire city was in a somber state after learning about Baltimore police officer KEONA Holley, who was shot several times while working overnight in the Southern District.
Obviously, an ambush that she experienced, there's just really I don't think there's really any way to prepare for that.
Since the ambush, Officer Holley has been at Shock Trauma fighting for her life. Friday, police arrested these 2 men who they believe shot Holley, 31-year-old Elliot Knox and 32-year-old Trayvon Shaw, both facing a host of felony charges, including attempting to kill a police officer. Now people who know and love Holley say while she's fighting for her life, they are fighting to make sure her family feels supported during this time.
I was sitting down with her supervisor, and we were like, what else can we do? Like, we know that this is right before Christmas. She has kids.
Dana Potter, who's a supervisor at the Baltimore Police Education and Training Academy, says she taught a class Holley attended before graduating the academy in August of 2020. She initially started the fundraiser in hopes of giving a love token to Holley's family.
I just put together a quick blurb, and I put it on my Facebook, and I put it on Twitter and Instagram, and it just seems to have kind of spread like wildfire. So I initially set a goal. Let's try to raise $1,000. It would be a nice thank you, a nice gift to provide that family to use for whatever they needed. We surpassed that goal so quickly that I was like, you know what, we're just going to try to get what we can get for her.
So far, they've collected more than $4,000 they plan to present the family with, and instead of being a quick fundraiser, they are planning to collect donations for as long as Holley needs the support.
We don't know how long her recovery is going to be and how that's going to impact her ability to pay her bills, to support her kids. So we don't have a cutoff date. We'll accept donations as long as people are willing to give them.
A family, a police department, and a community shaken tonight after the loss of a mother, a sister, a friend, colleague, and a hero selfishly taken at the hands of our city's rising gun violence. Just 1 week after she was ambushed and shot while serving her community earlier tonight, the family of Officer KEONA Holley made the painful decision to take her off life support after her health began to fail. She died just a few hours later, creating a huge loss for the city. Kelsey Kushner is live outside Shock Trauma after days of prayers and vigils, hoping the 2-year veteran would pull through. Kelsey.
Max, well, it truly is devastating news. Friends, family members, colleagues, they have all been praying all week for Officer Holley's recovery tonight. They are heartbroken to learn she's passed. It's the confirmation no one was prepared for.
I'm hurt. I'm really hurt because that's an officer, someone who protect and serve for our city.
Just 1 week after she was ambushed and shot while on duty, Officer KEONA Holley has died.
She's somebody's daughter. She's somebody's mother. You know, she got a couple kids.
The Baltimore Police Department said in a statement Thursday evening that Holley's condition was deteriorating over the last couple of days, and her family made the difficult decision to remove her from life support. She died just a few hours later.
It's a sad situation. It's really sad.
Holley was working overnight last Wednesday in Curtis Bay, a shift she volunteered to work, when she was shot multiple times in her patrol car. The neighborhood knew her well.
She was here 6:30 last night. And she asking me, she says, how you doing, Pop? I said, I'm all right.
Condolences poured in following the news. Governor Larry Hogan said, our hearts are broken over the loss of one of our true heroes, while Mayor Brandon Scott thanked Holley for her service. Earlier this week, friends, colleagues, and even strangers held prayer vigils praying for a miracle, but that miracle never came.
She was way more than a police officer. She was a friend. She was family.
Holley was known as the mom of four from the West Side. Her friends say she left a lasting impression on the community she served and the people she worked with.
Everybody should be hurt. Everybody worldwide should be hurt.
Now, as you can probably imagine, this is a very difficult time for Officer Holley's family. Now, Signal 13 Foundation has been accepting donations in their honor to help them during this time.
Police lights lined the west side of the city. Baltimore police officers escorting the body of fallen officer KEONA Holley to the funeral home. She died yesterday, hours after police say family made the decision to take her off life support.
They put their lives on the line every day, and it's really nice to see so many people support this family.
The support has come from across the nation, according to Nancy Hines, CEO of the Signal 13 Foundation, a nonprofit supporting Baltimore officers and their families in times of crises, including Officer Holley's.
When the news broke that she had passed, for the next 12 hours, we had $20,000 donated by hundreds of people.
Hines says the outpouring of donations will go towards Holley's 4 children, supporting them through college and beyond. She says the fund has reached $36,000 so far.
People want to support the family. They want to make sure that police know they support them. I've had a number of phone calls with people who are just looking for ways.
A family and community that continue to mourn, honoring the life of Officer KEONA Holley this Christmas Eve.
For LaWanda Sykes and her mother, on this night before Christmas, there's still
joy.
Joy and peace. Still a reason to be part of the season.
I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. It's still a Merry to me because I have my grandkids. I may not have my child, but I have my grandkids. So I have to lift myself up and lift them up to have Christmas without their mom.
Christmas without their mom. KEONA Holley, who joined the Baltimore Police Department 2 years ago, was a 39-year-old mother with 4 children, the youngest a 10-year-old son. Holley's sister says they intend to have a joyful holiday, but admits amid the upbeat spirit, the pain and tears remain.
The tears, they will never go away. They'll always be there. But those tears also hold memories. They hold laughter. They hold joy. They hold her life, her essence, her spirit.
Family made the difficult decision to remove her from life support 2 days before Christmas.
That I don't think we're ready to talk about. Too soon for that.
But Sykes is talking about the seemingly out-of-control gun violence that's happening across the city and the violent crime that cost her sister her life. Her plea tonight, stop the violence.
Something has to be done about it, whether it comes from our politicians, our police department, whatever, no matter what. But the message has to go to the person who's holding the gun. Everybody does not have or was given the love that my sister had. And maybe that was missing from them. The only hope that I can find and ask is that they find forgiveness in God.
When he found out Holley was shot, Janu said he couldn't believe it. I see, almost 200 people a year, whatever we put through in the academy. I couldn't tell you the name of 98% of them, but as soon as it was stated that it was Holley, it was just like a pit in my stomach.